welcome everybody to Write Better Together. I'm Jon Meyers. Hey, look everybody, it's Emily Brooks.
Hello, Jon Meyers, and hey, look everybody, it's
where's Emily? What have you done with her? Who are you? What the heck?
Hi, I'm S.Matisko, and Emily is doing other things, so I'm here to fill her spot for just a little bit.
We're gonna have to find out who you are.
Well, I've just appeared.
It's like a soap opera when a different actor comes in to play a part that's been played for years.
Yeah. If Game of Thrones can do it, so can we, you know?
Oh, okay. That's a good way to look at it. All right, cool. What are we up to today, S.Matisko?
Well, we have quite the list.
Oh.
We're going to start with the viewer responses.
Yes.
And then I'm the guest.
You are the guest.
And then we'll do Hey Jon Meyers, where I teach Jon Meyers some things I know. So you'll learn a little bit about me and my background.
I'm nervous already.
And then we'll do the final act.
And I hear that, speaking of soap operas, I hear that a former recurring character might come back. So how'd you get out of your bubble this week?
I'm here. That's how I got out of my bubble. I've never done a podcast before.
Ever. So you're not alone. Probably I haven't done the numbers, but probably a third of our guests have never done a podcast before. And sometimes we don't find out till afterwards. Sometimes they're like, I made it through my first podcast. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm shocked. What are your, I'm not a people pleaser, but what are your concerns that I can help alleviate? Emily wouldn't eat on camera, so I won't make you eat on camera.
I'm hungry a lot, so that's actually the opposite might happen. I'd like to be able to eat on camera.
Oh.
So I don't really have too many concerns. I just want, to entertain the audience and have a good time with you. That's what I'm looking to do.
All right. So as S.Matisko said, we do have a guest. It's her, and we'll be talking about the big idea of. Tell us what it is, there, S.
So it's how to kind of escape your bubble.
Breaking out of isolation.
Yeah.
And how you got there in the first place, and how to get out of it. And I have some tips, and it's gonna be a good conversation. So, how'd you get out of your bubble, Jon Meyers?
Yeah. You want to tell me?
I want you to ask me.
Well, you already asked, but in my voice, apparently. That's what I sound like.
I went to, first of all, I went to the mailbox, and this is when you go, that's not a story.
Oh, like the beginning part. I see what we're doing. Okay. How'd you get out of your bubble this week, Jon Meyers?
I went to the mailbox.
Okay. That's outside, at least.
But you now you go, that's not a story.
Well, it could be. A story could start at the mailbox. I'm ready. I'm listening.
I like how hopeful you are. I'm so surprised that you see the opportunity and possibilities of my trip to the mailbox.
It's better than starting with an alarm clock. I'm at the mailbox. I'm ready. What's happening?
I got this package that I'm not going to tell you about until we talk about viewer response.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And so that's a teaser for that package. But I also, on Sunday, I went to an author symposium.
Okay.
And I want you to ask me questions about it. And I won't divulge the location or who I will describe the panelists who were there, but I don't want to disclose the location in case I say something that I don't want to be attached to a specific person. So there were 5 panelists. One was a moderator. On the panel, it was every form of publication was represented. So there was a nerdy Renaissance fair kind of guy who had sword and sorcery books traditionally published. So his path was to first publication was one story. The next person was a woman who has 3 YA fantasy books and a series of 3. Actually, the third one isn't out yet, but it's coming out in the next month. First 2, I looked her, and so she is indie published by her own self. her first book has 220 reviews. I was pleasantly surprised.
Mm-hmm.
The third person was a Christian romance author. I was going to say historical romance, but it wasn't. Christian romance author, traditionally published with an agent. And then the fourth person was a poet who he's both. And so he's been traditionally published as a poet. He's published his own, and he's actually owned an indie press, but he sold it now, back in the day. And so you had all forms of publication represented up there on the panel. Asked me
Okay.
some questions about it.
Did everyone get along?
Yeah, everyone did get along. The moderator was very inclusive to make sure that everyone, like, if there was a more quiet person, that they would, and what do you think about that, Billy, or whatever the person's name was?
What'd you guys talk about?
So the moderator led through, it was an hour and a half, and the moderator led through, did I even mention this was in person? This was in person, not on the web.
I imagined it in person.
Like, how did you get your first book published? How, and then with the independent published person, like, why did you decide to do your own instead of going traditional route? 4 out of, this is why I don't want to name the people. 4 out of 5 of them went down this rabbit trail of, they all had imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
A woman with an agent and 3 traditionally published books, a guy with an agent and 2 traditionally published books, the independent least published woman, and then the guy that's done all of them. They all have imposter syndrome, every one of them. And probably, based on the questions that were asked, half of the people in the audience had imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't know why. I don't know why I went. Here's why I went. I know, like, nothing was spoken that I didn't already know. However, I wanted to hear the questions that the people asked, because I like to be in touch with the people. There may be 25 people that showed up, and it occurred to me that in our book, the book that Emily and I wrote, right anyway, so when I got home, I looked up in our index. We don't even have a chapter on imposter syndrome. Now, it's mentioned throughout, because it's 30 roadblocks to writing anyway, and so it's mentioned. And but that just tells me that in the next book there needs to be a dedicated section on imposter syndrome.
Definitely.
What do you have imposter syndrome?
Probably. It's hard to have imposter syndrome, like, if you just, like, don't think about it or don't talk to people. So, like, if saying to someone else, "Oh, I'm an author," is very difficult for me, and I'd rather not do it, because that gives me a feeling of imposter syndrome. When I'm just sitting around writing my books or even publishing my books, I don't really feel it. It's when I'm talking to people in the real world and I am, like, not comfortable with how they'll respond to me that I get imposter syndrome. So I could see it coming up in that environment where people are all sitting and they have to be like, yeah, I was an author that was picked to be on this panel. That feels like a bit much. I could see feeling that way. So yeah, I would say I do have imposter syndrome.
So it's funny that you said that you're uncomfortable with being called an author, because the Christian romance woman, who I would arguably was the most, I don't want to compare, I was going to say the most successful, but the one who's been doing it the longest, she's like, I want everyone in this room to know that you're not an aspiring writer. You're not a wannabe writer. If you write, you're a writer.
Yeah.
Okay. The next day on the news, so that I didn't even see the news there, but the news was there, or the venue gave the news. I saw the venue was videotaping it, and so maybe the venue wrote the news story and gave it to the news, and the headline of the news story was, "Aspiring wannabe writers go to this
Yes.
author symposium," and they showed the crowd twice. Unfortunately, you couldn't see me. I would be so mad if I was on the news in an audience of someone calling me an aspiring writer.
I would also be mad.
Yeah, thank you. And there were other published authors in the audience, not a lot of them, but there were some. And one of the speakers on the panelists literally said, "You're not an aspiring writer, you're a writer." And then that was the headline in the news. The lady that was sitting right in front of me, she was one of the people that asked the question, and she's like, "What do you do when you get stuck?" And I don't mean stuck in story, but that happens sometimes too. I mean stuck where I don't feel like writing today. The traditionally published woman on the panel said, "You just write anyway." Oh, it's the name of our book. That was her answer. And so afterwards, I went up to that lady, and she had a daughter with her, and I'm like, so I gave her a copy of the book, and I signed it, and I'm like, so her answer was right, but here's 30 chapters on why this answer, why her answer was right. And she was very appreciative and thankful. Well, on the news, they show her like it was just like, so she's there nodding her head and everything, and like I'm right behind her, and like they just happened to cut the angle right where it didn't show me. I would have been so mad.
Oh yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, and I didn't sign a release to either. But the news, like if you're walking down the street, you're kind of fair game. But so this was a public event. I guess that's a gray area.
Yeah.
But don't tell me I'm an aspiring writer.
Yeah, once you have a book out, you're not aspiring. That's pretty much. Or anything, really. Anything that anyone has access to. If it's escaped your computer in any way.
Yeah, if the world can read your blog, you're
that's a writer.
Yeah. Or if you have a contract and it hasn't been published yet.
Right.
So no one even knows who you are yet. You're still a writer.
Yeah. And, an agent still had to look at it. Someone has to have seen it, I think. I think that maybe should be the line.
That's a good definition. So
I don't know, if you write in a diary, that could be, that still kind of counts, I think. So maybe it is just straight up. If you write, you're a writer.
Well, the headline writer for the news channel didn't go and interview the 25 people in the audience and say, do you write in your diary?
True.
I did not appreciate that. But it was a good event, and it was helpful to the people there, and I've probably talked about it enough now. And
okay.
I have one more story. I'm going to tell this other story.
All right.
You got time for a story, S.Matisko?
I always have time for stories. That's what I do.
So there was a woman also in the row in front of me. She's probably a retired professor and has an agent. So she was not an aspiring author, because she has an agent and had published. They weren't textbooks, but they were all academic books by academic journals. And but so she had just signed a contract for her first biography. So she had never had a contract for biography before, and it was with Amsterdam Press. And her first question to the panel was, "Did you hear what happened at Amsterdam Press?" Well, of course, no one knew what happened at Amsterdam Press, and she said the name of the big time. So Amsterdam Press last week when we're recording this. Oh, this is World Brain Day, by the way. How's your brain?
Brain Day? Bad.
How's your brain today?
Absolute goo, actually.
So yeah, we're filming this on World Brain Day. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, so they got bought out. And she goes, "Well, let me get you up to speed. Amsterdam Press got bought out by a for-profit corporation." Like, oh my God, one of the big five bought them out. And she said what it was. And it wasn't Simon and Schuster. I couldn't remember who it was. And so I called them, and they're honoring my contract. So that's good news, right?
Yeah.
They gave me the new person there, and because they're taking over in this, it's not really a merger, it's a takeover. And I talked to the new person there who was aware of me, and they're honoring my contract. So what do I do? That's what she asked the panel. And so one of the guys on the panel, which I'm thinking the same thing, one of the guys on the panel goes, "So what's your problem? Like, what are you asking?" What are you asking? And she goes, "Well, what if they don't honor the contract?" And I'm like, they just said they were gonna honor the contract 3 days ago. And then Saturday, so this was on a Sunday, Saturday, 28 people, which happens when a big corporation buys a smaller press. They start bringing in their people, and then the old staff, they get mad and they leave, or they heard rumors, and so they were already looking for other jobs. And so Saturday, 28 people walked out. Acquisition people from the old company, acquisition people, some of the editors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But her story reveals that there's already new people in there. There was already a new acquisition person who's bigger and for profit, and so that's you could argue that's better for your book. And so she goes, what if my not my agent? What if my acquisition woman was one of those 28? I emailed her yesterday, but she hasn't answered yet. Well, this is like 12 hours later, and she hasn't answered yet on a Sunday. And so let me hear your response to that, and then I'll tell you my takeaway from that.
So I've heard of things like this happening a lot. I've seen people's book deals collapse in these kind of scenarios. And just because they said they'll honor the contract doesn't mean they'll do it well. And that's the thing I would be worried about in her position. I personally know someone who a very similar thing happened to them while they were in the middle of publishing their debut. And I do believe it tanked their career because they had someone who believed in their work and was ready to stand by it and like push for it. And then they get assigned to a rando who that's just on their list of things to do. They don't like the project. They're not passionate about it. Right. But they just have to follow through it because they signed a contract and they're going to do it. And so you lose, I guess, the human part of it, which is somebody had picked it and agreed and was excited about it. Once they go, it's not going to be the same. So I do think it is a loss for the author you're describing because, they might still follow through, but it will not be the same as it would have been had she gotten it out with someone who's passionate about it. And I think that matters. I don't think there's anything she can do, and I think there's a chance it'll still be fine, but it's not ideal in any sense.
So do you think... Welcome to our first episode of Glass Half Empty, Glass Half Full.
So there will be many more.
Do you think that... No, this is a leading question. I think that... so the fact that it's her first biography and they gave her the acquisition biography person, that's who she talked to, I think that's a plus because the old acquisition person, they weren't textbooks, but they were basically textbooks. Someone who's not an academic is not going to read these other books, right?
Right.
And so biophysicists, blah blah blah. But this biography, civilians might read this biography, and so using your glass half empty thing, so first of all, we don't even know if she lost that person, because it was
True.
12 hours later.
You said she got a different person though in the story. You said that they've replaced somebody.
That's true.
So we do know that she's gotten reassigned, which is not great.
So so that is true. But in her story, she got reassigned because it was biography, and the old person didn't do biographies, but it was a new person from the new company as well, and so yeah, that is a good point. But that doesn't mean that her champion isn't still at the company, because they had 100 employees and 28 left. That means 72 are still there. Anyway, I don't know. I had one more point. That the fact that her follow-up question to you can't do anything yet, lady. It's only been 72 hours, and she's like, well, I have to start querying this book, and no one on the panel, that's like another reason why I didn't want to name them, no one said you can't query it, you already have a contract. You can query the follow-up to it, but until they violate that contract, which it was a big company, so they would buy her out before they violate it, right? Maybe not, but glass half empty, maybe they won't.
They wouldn't buy it out. Those contracts have voids in them usually, right? Where it's just like they can walk at any time.
Normally there's an escape clause. It's funny that you mentioned that. The traditional published Christian fiction woman, she put in, which is so rare that they agree to this, she put in her contract, if that happens, I get my rights back. Because what happens a lot of time is they you're gone and they still have the rights, and your book just languishes and you have to go write the next book. But anyway, so my final takeaway was she was like, you can't borrow trouble. It hadn't every scenario that she was cooking up hadn't happened yet. And yeah, it could, but you can't go query a book that you already under contract anyway.
I don't know if you can or cannot. I think you definitely shouldn't. Is it against contract to query? I don't know if it is, because querying's kind of like this weird random thing we do.
If they would have offered the contract and she hadn't signed it yet, people do that all the time. In that, they'll play off one contract. That happens in screenwriting too, or it used to in the old days. When a property is hot, they'll generate this little bidding war, and but that really doesn't happen as much these days. And she signed it, like it's done, man. It's last week. She has a deal, and so as long as she has a deal, she has a deal. Like, she'd be breaking the contract if she were to do that.
Yeah, I understand her worry, though. I do understand. It's just what you have to do is you have to sit it out. You have to watch like a little hawk and see what they're doing. Because I've known people whose books get kind of like, once they get reassigned, they get destroyed. I've gotten people who they were in like contract phase and they've dropped them because of these kinds of mergers. So these mergers are something to be worried about. I have
a friend, I won't name her. Her book's right over there on my signed shelf. Your signed book's gonna go right here, but my book signed shelf's over there, and she missed her. She had a 2-book contract, and she missed her deadline for the second book, and they extended it a whole like 8 or 9 months, and she missed the extension, and so she violated the contract, right? Well, now there's 6 copies of her book left in the whole world because it's out of print now, her first one. And she can't get the rights back because she didn't do what the lady on the panel did for 7 more years. After they closed the contract, and by then it's already dead, but by then it'll be dead. So
the books can come back.
They can.
So
look at you being all hopeful. Oh my goodness.
Okay, Jon Meyers. It's just, that's the thing that's fun about books, is they can be picked up much later. Music too. Almost all art, really. We could all die and no one could read anything we write, and then we'll die and then people will want to read it. It'll be sweet. We just won't be here to see it. Timeless.
I think that all this... Do what?
It's timeless.
I think all of this life and death talk is bringing up a surprise topic, a surprise guest. What do you think?
I don't know.
What the heck? What's happened? What have you done?
I mean, it's still dead.
What have you done, S.Matisko?
She's still dead.
She is still dead, but she's been dead, retired. We had a funeral. I sent you the video of the funeral when you brought her up before. And oh my gosh. We already said...
Go
ahead.
Well, just because something is dead doesn't mean it stays dead. We all know this trope in fiction. We all know that this can happen. Was she really dead?
And we've already brought up soap operas where no one stays dead.
Yeah, no one's just comas and car crashes all the time.
Well, we talked about this briefly. I don't watch horror movies that have like demonic stuff and like that, but I'll watch a horror movie where science does it, or even a natural phenomenon like I don't know, I can't think of one right now, but so like Godzilla. So a nuclear thing caused Godzilla, right? Or lightning caused Frankenstein. I'll watch those. And so, how are you gonna resurrect Baggy with science, man?
So when something or someone dies, they take the body away, right? And they bring it down into like the freezers in the basement to keep it safe for a while, right?
In the freezer.
In the freezer.
In the morgue.
In the morgue. That's another way to put it, but freezers, more general term, right? And so, because morgues are a little bit like not 100% frozen, they're just cold, like very cold. But
I don't know.
instead, this morgue was just a little bit warmer or a little bit colder than other morgues, right? So
Is this Hey Jon Meyers? Are you teaching me how morgues work?
No, I'm teaching you. This is a little bit of a hint to what I am somewhat expert in, but we'll get there. So if you make something cold enough and it freezes, then you can't have bacterial decay. You can't have anything. So Baggy froze solid, right? And then we're getting a really bad heat wave, and the electricity
110 yesterday in my undisclosed location.
Very fun, and the freezer broke. But the thing is, Baggy wasn't really dead. So when Baggy thawed out, Baggy woke up.
Wait.
Okay.
So because it was 110 degrees yesterday, that's what made Baggy thaw out?
Yeah. And the electricity went out because everyone was blasting their AC too much. And so there was a brownout. And so then the morgue got too warm and Baggy woke up.
Because AI used up all the electricity. Oh,
yeah,
did I say that out loud?
The data center that they put in used up all the electricity, and so then the morgue, very stinky, but Baggy did wake up.
So you got one more step.
What do you mean?
I just saw Baggy with X's over her eyes. So like, what's the final step for those X's can go away?
Baggy probably needs LASIK.
Needs what?
LASIK. Eye surgery.
Wait, hold on. Where's my laser?
Are you certified to do that?
No, but we give mental health advice on the show all the time, and we're not certified.
I'm definitely not certified to do that.
So anyone watching, if you want me to do your LASIK surgery, I don't know what, $50?
That's all we can afford.
All right, so you want me to do LASIK real quick on her? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, what kind of laser you got?
I have this thing.
Ooh.
That looks like science.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I see it glowing.
The weirdest episode of our show ever.
I'll keep making it weirder. Don't even worry about it. Ooh, it's working. Look at that.
She's already unthought. Do you know I'm a germaphobe? So you said bacteria and stuff. Oh,
I know.
Man.
Oh, okay. Now that I know that, that's going to be fun.
You are a bully. All right.
I'm not a bully. I just know things about things.
All right.
They don't know that joke, Jon Meyers. They don't know about me being the bully.
Oh, they will.
We didn't tell them that.
Ah! You did it.
Baggy, is that you? Are you okay?
Oh, my goodness. Emily's going to be so mad at you, S.Matisko.
Again, I make enemies everywhere I go. That's what I do.
This doesn't
Unless
count
we
for
kill Baggy before Emily comes back. This is also possible.
So the thing, for the people that don't know, people are still watching this episode, the thing, Baggy used to be the game at the end, and you just guessed the letters, these Scrabble tiles that I would pull out of Baggy's head before Baggy became anthropomorphized. So I thought of a segment that we can do now that you've resurrected Baggy. I want you to pick two. So this is like Baggy 2.0. So I want you to pick two letters, one at a time though. I want you to pick two letters, and we're going to do something with those, and then we'll get back to the show.
Okay, I'm going to pick my initials. I'm going to go SM.
Oh, well, I said one at a time, but okay. So the first one I pull out is an O.
Okay.
So you do not win the 1 point for the O. And then the second one is an R. All right, now
Brutal.
here's what we're gonna do. You had to pick an O and an R, didn't you? We're gonna play the name game. Like if we would have pulled out KP, I'd do Katy Perry, and then you'd go some other KP. I don't know. And
Oh,
then
so
I go
they have to
there.
be real people?
Yeah.
I can't
so,
just do names that I know
Oh.
that have those letters?
Yeah, but it can go through the whole episode because because I'll think of one 10 minutes from now. So OR, I don't know, man.
So one of my side characters in one of my books is named Orson. Does that count?
Is it named what?
Orson, Orson.
Okay, does his last name start with an R?
No, but OR is in the start. What if I don't give all my characters last names? Why does everyone need a last name?
You don't even have a first name, S.
No, I don't need a first name.
So that's what we're gonna do, and it'll just go when an OR pops into your head.
Orville Redenbacher.
Oh, dude!
Get wrecked, Jon Meyers.
We've talked about Orville Redenbacher because he's from Valpo, where Stephanie Jones is from, at least.
Yeah, no, I've heard of Valpo.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm ahead, so you have to go next. But are we gonna keep like chatting, and then you have to like?
But you can't Google it. You can't
I'm
Google.
Not gonna Google. I'm not a cheater.
While we're talking.
I'm not a cheater. I don't have another one. I just had that one. So.
Oh. Now, this was a terrible idea because now I won't be able to focus on what we're talking about because my brain will be doing O's and R's.
Yeah. Does that have to be in that order?
If I don't think of one, you win the first episode or the first segment of.
I do love to win.
Baggy 2.0.
That's the risk with the games here, is I like to win.
Well, I make the games so you can win. At least cool. I do. All right.
That's nice of you.
Thank you.
Hey, do we have any viewer responses that you
do we ever? Ha! I can't believe you asked. So first of all, I showed you this earlier in the.
Yeah, with the foreshadowing. I want to see it.
I got a gift, but I didn't get a gift. Emily got a gift, but Emily didn't get a gift. Arthur, Emily's baby, got a gift. Came in the mail, and Dad, Where's My Blanket? By Phil Stark. So Phil Stark watched some episode where we were talking about him and loved it. Then he went and bought our book, and he gave us a positive review of our book, a 5-star review of our book. And then all of a sudden this thing comes in the mail to our business address. So he wrote, Dude, Where's My Car? He's now speaking of licensed therapists, he's now a licensed therapist, and his book, Dude, Where Is My Catharsis? Oh, what a clever title.
Oh, yes, we have.
He has a book on couples counseling if you and your boyfriend need that. And then he's working on a third one, and then he should count this one. And it's so wonderful. I'm torn. So I'm going to review it, right? Even though, because Arthur's 10 weeks old at this point, he can't review it. He didn't draw it. He wrote it, right? And then an illustrator drew it. And so my brain is having trouble wrapping around how to write a review of just the words, or maybe I don't.
I think you can write it on both. Why not?
Well, if that's what you think, that's what I'll do.
You have discipline in film. You can do scene set. It'll be nice.
Whatever you say. I'll just do whatever you say. I'm trying to stay out of trouble with you because you're a bully.
Because I'm mean.
I don't want to be bullied by you. Then the second viewer response is from Emily Miley Rhinelander in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and she watched, I think this was Stephanie's last episode, and Sarah Vesely was the guest, also from Valpo, also an author from Valpo. And Miley has this to say. In the Stephanie and Sarah episode, Sarah's call to action, because normally the guest gives the call to action, was to set your camera up and give a 2-minute talk to be more
That's nice.
to be more comfortable in front of the camera, and then turn that into a 4-minute talk, and then turn that into a 15-minute talk, and then once you get to 45 minutes, you can go speak somewhere. That was her call to action. And so here's what Miley had to say about that. I was inspired by Sarah Vesely listening to the messages she received when struggling with her college decision. Most people would have run off to college to find their life's purpose, when if they had been still and prayed about it, they would have seen and heard the message that was written on their soul. Oh, I am late getting out my phone to take Sarah up on her challenge, but I will try that. My challenge will be not to talk too much. So she can make a video, but not talk too much. Great interview, and it was nice to see the confidence Sarah Vesely and Stephanie L. Jones have in each other. There you go. How about that?
It's very positive, I guess.
What do you think about that, S.Matisko?
What do you think about it? You go first.
I love that, and I said this on the episode. I love that Sarah's 18 years old, and she is a conference speaker. That like she didn't have, like most of us, other jobs, and like out of high school, I'm gonna be an editor / conference speaker when I grow up. She's got 2 books out, and she went straight to that path. To have such confidence, and then Stephanie has helped her to get that level of confidence, I think is impressive. But the other part that's impressive is she has the most supportive parents. Like Emily has supportive parents. I did not have supportive parents. Mine are both gone, so I'm going to ask you, but you don't feel like you have to answer if yours are still alive or whatever. And I just answer with whatever you're comfortable with. But her parents were like, do what's on your heart, do what you feel like you should be doing. And my parents would be like, put that book down and go out and play in the dirt.
Yeah.
So
I am probably more closely aligned with you. My father is still with us, so we'll keep it light. But my mother died when I was quite young. So I did not get a lot of support just because my father was very busy working, taking care of us. My brother's disabled, so it was a lot on him to like hold up the family. So it was kind of I didn't really have that kind of support network. Nobody in my family really reads. Dyslexia is really common in my family, so books are kind of like, ew, what's that? Why would I bother? I myself am dyslexic, but I still like them, so like, whoops. But so I think that having a really strong support network early, like in your family, really matters for writers developing confidence, avoiding things like imposter syndrome, and becoming more willing to branch out, because they'll have more trust in other people and sharing their true selves, right? Because of that secure base. So, great for Sarah.
Remind me on a next episode to talk about disability fiction, but no time for that today.
No time for that.
We'll talk about it.
Okay, live your life. Do you want to go into the big idea?
So normally you would read the bio for the guest, but you're the guest. And
It's me.
So tell people a little bit about your publishing career, and then we'll launch into, I have the first question about breaking out of isolation ready for you. But tell people a little bit about who you are.
So I'm S.Matisko. I have a BA in creative writing from Purdue University and a BS in food science also from Purdue University with a specialization in fermentation science.
I didn't know that second part.
Yeah. That's a hint for the kinds of questions that, hey, Jon Meyers, you're going to get later. I think I'm going to make them all food-based because of my training. Anyway, so I've been indie publishing since 2021. I have 5 books out, 4 of which are fiction. 1 is poetry. I write in all kinds of genres and disciplines, so if you check out my work, I'm pretty confident one of them will at least work for you at this stage based on how various and different they each are. So I can show you my books right here. Hold on.
And I bought one of them, and that's why it's not up here yet, because it's not here yet, because I just bought it before we started.
Yep, so here are my books. This is the one that will appear.
Yes.
This is my actual x-ray, by the way, from when I broke my wrist. Fun fact about this cover. I designed that myself.
So you don't know this about me. Like, I can't see x-rays or...
oh, does it freak you out?
Yeah, or... like ultrasounds,
dude. That's the front of my book. You just bought that book.
Or blood, and it's gonna be right here the whole time.
Yeah. What are you? What is that? How'd you not notice that?
I knew the topic, and oh my goodness. Oh my.
Okay, we can cancel your order if you're scared. That's fine.
So that's exposure therapy. That's good for me.
Yeah.
I will. After a while, I'll be able to look at any X-ray of your wrist.
Of my wrist in particular, no one else's. Just
correct.
You know what? That's fine.
I'm only being exposed to your X-ray.
That's fine.
Don't break anything else.
So yeah, I'm 28 years old. I've been writing since I was very small.
We don't have ages on this show.
Oh, well, I have an age. But yeah. So that's a decent amount. I like rural places. I'm really into nature. I like to work out. I've been into weightlifting for a while. What else do I do? I'm a good baker because I have food science knowledge, but I was good at baking before that even. I've recently been mastering breads because breads are a fermented food.
Now I have Once Upon a Time I Was a Baker in my head. That song.
Yes, Once Upon a Time I Was a Baker. I'm still a baker. I had a job at a bakery once. That was interesting. But yeah, that's me. That's my books. That's what I do.
I have a question for you.
All right.
So you came up with this brilliant first topic for your first appearance, of breaking out of your isolation. But before we talk about that, how do you wind up here? Like how bad, or not how bad? How severe is like? Do you have agoraphobia? And like, how severe is it? And how'd you get there?
Okay, so this will involve a bit of a story time, right? So are you ready for a bit of a story time? So it all begins with my first laptop, right? I get a laptop. The internet doesn't exist at the time. Like, we don't have good internet at my house, so I can only do things on my laptop that don't involve the internet. One of those things was typing on Word. That's how the whole writing thing started, but it started to feel like if I showed people what I was working on, they would be not so supportive, right? From an early age. Think about it, I'm like 10, right? And so that very quickly became my writing is for me and maybe my friends, right? Because of my dyslexia, reading aloud kind of limited me from becoming really strong in like an English class setting, right? And so even through school, it was kind of difficult for me to get any kind of support or I'm looking for a very specific word here, but I can't find it. Where it's like people look at me and they're like, ah, yes, a person. I wasn't getting that. So I kept this hidden for a while as like my thing. Everyone who knew me knew that that's what I loved to do. I also had a relatively strong STEM skill set. So science, math, that kind of stuff. And I was very quickly pushed into doing that by my family, by my friends, so that I could have a job that paid well. And I did. I went to college for those things, but I did not like it. And so I strategically was like, I have to take all these humanities classes to get a degree anyway. Like, they're like rules. And so I was going to strategically get a minor in creative writing. That's how it started. And I was so excited, Jon Meyers. I was so excited. I'd never been in a creative writing class before. It's my sophomore year. And I go. And it's so different from my STEM classes, right? I finally feel like I'm going to be able to be myself. my professor was non-binary. We start the first class talking about how it's a safe place, how everyone's going to be looked after, how there's no racism here and there's no whatever. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. This is not organic chemistry, like this is a different place. And then they say something that absolutely destroys me. Okay? They say, in order to be a decent writer, you have to be a great reader. Wrecked. I cried for 2 days. All right? Because I was so excited. I thought I was finally going to be with people who were like with me. They spent 20 minutes telling me that everyone was going to be looked after, and then says one of the most ableist things I've ever heard in my life. Right? And it just kind of went downhill from there. I have a thing, and this is probably going to come up several times in this podcast. I have a thing against the whole peer review system of creative writing education because of what I saw while I was there. I saw kids who were autistic or a little shy or a little weird get their work heavily criticized, though it was superior to work that was heavily complimented just because people liked the student. It turns into a popularity contest that cannot be won. So I am a relatively good reviewer. That's one of my skills. I don't know why. I think it's because I have to read things so slowly. I get a really good grasp of what is in front of me. So I always had very interesting comments. I always led peer review discussion. That was always me. Right? But whenever my work was being discussed, no one ever had anything to say. And that was incredibly isolating. Because people were not engaging with my work, even though I was engaging with theirs. Right?
Do you know why that was?
No, because no one ever said anything.
Okay.
And so it's like, they couldn't say it was bad. They couldn't say it was good. They just were like overwhelmed by it, I suppose. And they didn't talk. Even kids who would talk at other points for other people's work would never speak for mine. Right? I still don't know why. And so that was just like, what is so weird about my work that this is the effect I have in every like classroom that involves a peer review? This occurs.
Okay.
Where people can't speak.
Was it better than everybody else's?
I have no idea because no one ever said anything.
You read other people's and you read yours. Was yours better than everyone else's?
It was not better than everyone else's.
Okay.
It was better than more than half. But every classroom I was in, that was like 30 people or so, I would think 4 of them were better than me. Just based on what they were able to turn in.
And did people comment on those 4?
They would roast them. Because those people were often the weirdos. I say this with all the love in my heart. So people who were producing good work were getting bad social feedback. Right? Or like weird feedback, anyway. So it was kind of one of those things where it was just difficult. I remember in particular, someone turned in something that was so bad that I did read a bit of it to my roommate, which was a bit rude. But I was just like, this was before AI, so I'm like, this was written by someone who was like drunk on like a Tuesday night, right? Like hardly legible, right? People thought it was fantastic. And I was just like, because he was like one of the only boys in the class, and he was kind of like a handsome lad or whatever. And I was just like, this is humiliating that we're acting like this is legitimate work. Right?
In college.
In college. We're in college.
Not in middle school.
No, this is college. Well, of course they're drunk, so. But it was just like, the experience I had entering the writing community and space was almost entirely negative. The lights of my life and my experience there, I had 2 very wonderful teachers after the one that mocked me for being disabled. But like, I had 2 really, and at that point I refused to take classes with other professors because I was like, I need to be with these people who are actually like serious and talented and trying to create a standard here. But it got to a point where it's like, I couldn't even listen to, what anyone said about my work unless they were my professors, because they were the only ones capable of like responding in any way. And so that was kind of meh. And so I went, I don't really want to go to grad school. I don't want to get an MFA based on this experience. It was horrible. I don't think these people have any right to tell me if my work's good or not, because they can't produce good work themselves, and they say good things about work that I don't think is good. Right? And so then I take a year off. Things happen. I go, you know what, JK, I'm going to apply for an MFA. I don't get in anywhere. Of course, I applied to only funded MFAs because I am not going to go into debt. So it's like, I didn't get in anywhere. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to publish my books on my own. I'm going to get an agent. Can't get an agent. You know?
The MFA wouldn't have helped you get an agent, by the way.
But they told me it would. That's the thing that I think is funny. Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't know how to get them. I don't write books that are like fast-selling popular books. My books are kind of weird. Or like unique or different, I guess, is kind of a way to think about it. But like, I write things that are different for the market, but maybe too different for the market. And so like the whole situation from being kind of forced into STEM, even though I didn't want to do it, finally breaking into the creative writing community and being pretty much ostracized for whatever reasons that I don't totally understand. Right? And then I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to write my own stuff. And what's kind of brought me back is I was like, okay, I have to tell people I have books out or they're never going to find them. Right? And so I started engaging more in like Bookstagram and Book Talk. A lot of very nice readers and writers on those platforms, like in like my age group. We're going to have a guest later who I met this way, who I met like online, like communicating with, you know, young writers. And that's really helped. But it's not, I still am not capable of doing it the same way that other people are. I think perhaps it has to do with my lack of bubbly affect, right? Because I'm a relatively serious kind of level-ish person. So it's like people are able to sell their product. They're able to act really excited and happy and exuberant. And I am just, because of my natural like depression and some of my other issues, I just cannot do that. So that is my isolation. And this is me trying to get out of it.
So before you go further, you are not alone. So we talked last year, Emily and I talked last year at Southern Festival of Books to over 300 people that came through our little table. And there are so many people who loved writing until they were in the middle of their MFA program and a professor crushed them or their peers crushed them.
Right.
And since Emily and I both teach, and we're not that kind of professor, neither one of us are, it breaks your heart to hear that Once Upon a Time You Were a Baker story played out in the college. And it's wrong to do that to someone.
Right.
Like it's morally wrong to crush someone's spirit, no matter what they are. If they're a writer or a sculptor or a baseball player, you shouldn't be in the crushing business.
Right.
And
I did get some like crush advice that was quite good, which was somebody, and this is a professor I liked, and he was like, if you can do anything else, do that. If this is the only thing you can do, then that's what we're doing. Right? So it's like, if you can live your life happy doing anything else, that's probably what you should be doing. But if you're in a position where no, like if I'm not writing, I'm not going to be myself, I'm not going to be okay, then that's where you're meant to be. Right? I think that's good advice.
That's actually, I don't know. You were there, I wasn't there, but that sounds like me. That's reverse crushing advice. That's reverse crushing advice. That's saying 99% of the people can't do what you can do. And if you live, eat, and breathe this, and you're that 1%, then that's what you should be doing. That's how Mr. Glass Half Full hears that. The other thing that I wanted to say was, I almost interrupted, but then when you brought up the TikTok and Instagram.
Bookstagram. I'm more of an Instagram user than a TikTok user.
Yeah, so when you brought those up, because early, 3 minutes earlier, you had said my stuff's weird. I don't write for the market, and so I was going to interrupt and say, no, the people that read you are your market, right?
Right.
You're not box of macaroni and cheese people, and that's not who you are. But there, you have a market. Like everyone has a market. You can write the most. I almost said a bad word, not a cuss word. I was gonna say, you could write. I'm not gonna say it. You you could write the most smallest tiny niche, and there are readers for that niche, and so the trick is to get in front of those people and to connect with those people. But and you can do that because when you let's say you do a book signing and 10 of your people show up, and let's say I don't want to talk about a specific event, but let's say you're at an author event and there's 12 authors there, and 100 people show up, and only 10 of them are for you. Let's say that, and the rest are for everybody else. If you're a human being who has a conversation with those 10 people, all 10 of those people go home and tell the other people that are like them, that are like you, about this wonderful conversation they had with S.Matisko. And if you have, which you don't have an audiobook, right?
Not really, no.
So if you had, and we don't have an audiobook either, and but if you have an audiobook, those are the kind of people that when they go to Target with their 4 girlfriends, they put on your audiobook in the car, and so they have captive other like-minded creative people in the car with them listening to your audiobook. That's what you want. And if only one person shows up, I'd rather talk to one person that cares about me, that's going to go be that person, than 100 people that don't care about me.
I mean, yeah, I don't love talking to people.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
Well, I think what I've noticed is the genre jumping I do turns people off pretty fast.
But you're multi-genre.
I know, but they'll be like, I like this book, why don't you write this book again? And I go, but I've already written that book, so I'm not going to write another. That's just like it. Right? And I think that irritates most readers, actually. Because like for my books, it's like it started off kind of YA, and then I went into mature content, and I've lost a lot of readers doing that, even though it's what I wanted to write.
Do you don't know this? I used to be a cartoonist. I actually got paid. I was one of the 60 at the time syndicated cartoonists who actually got paid for it. And cool. But when you said that I already did this, and I don't want to write that book again, I want to write it right. That's how I was, and that's actually why I quit doing it, because I do not like drawing the same thing over and over and over, right? And so I can't have a strip because I can't have characters reoccurring, because I don't want to draw the same characters every day. And for just 2 years, so I didn't draw for 25 years, and just 2 years ago, when William Bernhardt, who he has like 60 books, it's this guy, he started a magazine, like an actual real magazine, and he asked me to write some articles for it, and I said, yeah, but you have to print my cartoons. I want to be on the masthead as the editorial cartoonist. And plus I was also, back in the past, I was a political cartoonist, and I don't do politics at all. And so, but for a writer magazine, like if you want to compare it to a regional equivalent of Writer's Digest, I can make author cartoons and stuff without being political. And so occasional contributor to the magazine for articles, but monthly or 8 times a year contributor as the editorial cartoonist, because I wanted to be on the masthead. And so, yeah, I'll write these articles for you as long as I could do it. But I don't have to draw the same thing 8 times a year, right? They're totally different. Totally, like New York Times. I'm not comparing myself to a New York Times cartoonist, although I could. And
Good.
every one of them is different, so I totally get that. And the 3 books that I'm working on, every one of them's totally different, so I totally get that. But still, you can still, if you have 5 niches, you can still connect with 5. All 5 of those elements are part of you. They're not fake. You're not writing box of macaroni and cheese because you're jumping on a
that phrase. You've said that twice. Box of macaroni and cheese. Is that like a phrase?
So box of macaroni and cheese is if you look at the top 10 books right now, it's a cage of swords and monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever. A bed of fairies and birds.
A blank of blank of blank.
Yeah, that's a box of macaroni and cheese. And
that's funny.
And so if you were to hop on that trend, that wouldn't be you. But if you're all 5 of your genres, if you want to say that, are all part of you.
Yeah.
You're not fake at all.
True. So, but the thing is, how do people usually respond to me? So because my work is me, and people don't respond well to me in general. So it's kind of like, oh.
Do what now?
I'm not a very social or like popular person, So it's like I have like a couple people that are in my close circle, but it's like in general, I'm not, it's like, oh, they're me. My books are me, but it's like, is that really gonna work?
So in the introduction that Emily wrote, so we both wrote separate introductions to this book. She's like, "Who's going to read a book from me?" And who's going to come to a book? She said that on the show before. Who's going to come to a book signing? For me. And then when we were signing books together, I was like, "Oh, who's going to come here? Like, here's some people. Look how many books we signed today." And they're like, how much of that is your self-identity versus like, do you think people right now are turning the channel because they're watching this on TV? Do you think they're turning the channel right now because you're so off-putting? No.
Maybe. Who knows? I'm not there.
And
we'll see statistically, won't we?
No.
What do you mean?
You only need to connect with. You don't need to connect with a box of macaroni and cheese. You told me the first time I talked to you. You told me that your food tastes were kind of bougie.
Yeah, they are. I do have bougie food tastes.
Right, so you wouldn't eat a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, but you don't want to be that person that eats a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, and because that's not who you are. So you're.
But what if but Jon
Meyers,
no man
is an island. You're not the only.
What if I'm the most uniquest snowflake ever? Have you considered this?
Do what?
What if I'm the most unique snowflake ever? Have we considered this?
Then I would celebrate that.
Oh, thanks, Jon.
I would be like, I'm so awesome. I'm the most unique snowflake ever. And but there are. I don't know. That's how I would look at it. And but so.
Must be nice to be Jon Meyers. Look at that. So happy.
What is your okay? Let's do this. What color snowflake are you? Pick a color.
Silver.
Silver. All right. There are other silver snowflakes who aren't they're not you, right?
No.
But there are other silver snowflakes. I'm a black snowflake, and
Yes.
so I'm not going to be in the same snowstorm that you're in, and how ironic that you're bright and shiny and I'm dark and my
Well,
snowflakes are dark
have
and
you
black.
seen that meme where it's like it'll be an artist in all black and it'll be like their art and it's really happy and cute, and then the artist in all colorful clothes and their art will be like dark and horrible.
Yeah.
I think that can be us.
That's what we are. And so there are other people in your zip code, but not in that live at your house.
Yes.
And so they're just are.
You know, I struggle to find them. We can put it like that. And if you struggle to find something for long enough, you start to wonder if it's there.
What? Okay. So why? Now we're going off like we weren't off on tangent before. Why
We're
do you?
always on tangent.
Why do you like? Why do you think you need to find them? You're on this search for. Why are you on a search for them?
Recognition.
I thought you didn't care about that.
I do care, unfortunately. I like to act like I don't care, but I'd like to be recognized.
Well, so thank you. That's what I was saying earlier, is that it's part of your persona, your self-identity of this, but it's not really what you really do care. But your persona is you don't care. That's exactly what I was going at earlier.
Oh, I care a lot. I care an unhealthy amount about almost everything.
That's great.
Is it?
Yes, that's great.
Why would that be great?
We need to have Phil Stark on an episode with you. And why is it great to celebrate yourself? Because there's only one you.
No,
you were made
I
for
don't
greatness.
celebrate myself.
You were made for greatness. All right. I got to write this down, man. Something's going to come up later. All right. Do you have positive reviews? Don't tell me I have 2 negative ones. Do you have positive reviews?
Yes, I have positive reviews.
That's your tribe, man.
Is it?
And they're going to tell people that are like them. And you're like, I don't want to be in a tribe. I'm the most unique snowflake ever.
No, I would love to be in a tribe.
So
that's not true. I would love to be
you are now, because we have followers and viewers that are going to love you.
We'll find out.
And they just are. So
you speak for them?
I'm the voice of reason.
Okay.
Apparently,
must be nice.
Apparently, you don't watch this show. I don't watch it either. So, do you have?
I can't watch all of them. You called me like 2 weeks ago to set this up,
out of the blue.
Out of nowhere, I get an email from this man, and I'm like, so I watched some of it, but I can't watch how many episodes? 60 something.
Yeah, but I watched Once Upon a Time as a Baker. I watched some of your. I saw your baking
like
videos.
6 YouTube
I saw a video where you were on the couch and here's my 5 books. I saw that, and I saw. Maybe I did watch one of the baking videos. I saw 3 or 4 videos.
My bran muffin one is the most popular.
Oh, what? So what video? You told me you had something that 1 million people saw. What was that?
Oh, it was about my hair. It's on Instagram. It was a short, so like it was actually close to 5. But
all right, so they're not your tribe. Sorry.
No, they're not my tribe, but they were very interested in the color of my hair.
But wouldn't you? Okay, so which is more valuable to you? This will prove my point. 3 good reviews is more valuable than those 5 million people that commented on your hair.
I think those 5 that video taught me a lot about how like the algorithm and stuff works. In a way that information is valuable to me. It's made it so I can produce videos that perform better because I understand like how the algorithm grabbed that and that information is valuable. But I would probably still pick the 3 positive reviews, or just I don't even need the reviews. I just want 3 people to like read my books and like them. I don't even care if they never tell me.
You want to be liked.
I want to be liked. Isn't that horrible? It's nothing
No.
worse.
No, it's not horrible.
It's not. It is horrible to want to be liked.
I want to be liked.
Well, you
I
are
want to be liked enough where people come see me speak.
And they do. So you
I
get
know.
that reassurance.
I know. And so when people, there are guest speakers who will say, I don't care, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, I don't care. There's podcasters who say, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, I don't care if people like it or not. And then they measure themselves by their numbers. Well, then you care. And I don't make a conference session so that I don't box macaroni and cheese my conference session. I try to pull off the Band-Aid and get to people's real vulnerability. So here's a perfect example. So a conference that I'm doing in September, they have this internal app, for the lack of a better word, where you can put polls and have conversations with people in them before the event. And so now it's a month and a half from now, right? And I'm already in conversations with people. Well, one of my rooms, like pretend it's a Discord room, but it's not. One of my rooms is what's the one vulnerable emotion that you don't want to talk about, right? And shame, guilt, jealousy. And so I'm in 10 conversations right now with people who never wanted to talk about their shame, their guilt, and I have one person who's like, I don't know you well enough, I'm not gonna answer that question. Well, good. That's a valid answer. But there's also a room where that one person can see 10 other people bleeding all over this little chat room. And that's how when I ran a classroom, when I would run a writing seminar or a summer workshop, I encourage people to share to bleed all over the page. And the idea that you're in a peer group and the handsome boy is getting all the accolades, like what you said.
I was just like, and he wasn't that cute. That was the really disappointing part. I think if he was really cute, I would have also been on board.
Oh.
But he wasn't cute enough, and so then I was like, what are we doing here?
You're not all that, dude.
So yeah, that's my issue.
I want everyone, in the classroom of 25, to think everyone is that cute. and so I want the person with autism and the person missing a leg, and I want them to be celebrated as much as handsome frat boy. But it's okay that handsome frat boy is being celebrated too, because they'll be like, no one's ever encouraged me to be creative before. Look at this little monkey I made out of construction paper. And that's the best monkey
that is
anyone's
how
ever
he
made.
Responded to the praise. He responded like, no one's ever thought anything I did was good.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was good. But like,
all right. So what gets you out of? I have a list of things to get you out of isolation, and what gets. Before I do that, I want to know what gets you out of isolation.
Well, I do have a quick anecdote, because you asked me specifically about agoraphobia. And I was I had some health problems like 2-3 years ago.
Besides really your wrist.
Besides my wrist breaking. Though my wrist breaking happened because of my health problems. That is mentioned in there, where it's like I had my like legs were going numb and I was collapsing. Not falling asleep, but collapsing. And so I have like a nerve issue. And so what was my point? So I was developing agoraphobia because I didn't want to go out, because whenever I fell at home, I had made all my stuff so I wouldn't get hurt, and I was like in total control of my environment, and my doctor was just like, you have to go out, like this is getting bad. And so my going out, because I was really sick, I did 1 lap around the Target, and that was my going out. And like a time in my life where I like, that was like twice a week, and that's all I did. So
how does your secret retail job jive with this?
they don't know. We'll see if it holds up. Right now, health-wise, I've been doing okay, which is cool for those,
No, but how does it jive with your? How does it vibe with your antisocial
I actually have
image?
this thing, and I like being really, really polite to strangers. It gives me like a serotonin boost that I can't explain. People I know I'll never see again.
So
It's like
no, I totally get that.
So that's why it works.
Yeah, I totally get that. And that's one of your life hacks, right? That's one of the things that you do to break the pattern of isolationism,
Right.
is if you're around strangers. I think you and I talked about this in a previous episode. Oh wait, you weren't on a previous episode. I think you and I have talked about this, that I don't do events in my own hometown, and but that's part of it. I don't say I'm a celebrity, but I'm a bigger celebrity in Oklahoma City or in Minneapolis or in Atlanta. And when I went to Atlanta Comedy Film Festival, it was like I was the biggest celebrity in the world. And if I did something here at the theater, that it wouldn't be like that. And so, but it's what you said. It's strangers that I'm polite to who love me.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Let's see how many of these. Pretend I'm a stranger.
Oh.
Pretend. Figure out a way that these things. I did all these myself. I researched these all myself. A way that these could work. Like rather than shoot them all down, I'm going to give you some tips to break your isolation. And rather than shoot them all down and go, this isn't going to work for me.
I like finding flaws in a system.
I know. So I'm reframing it. I'm flipping it. I want you to find the way how this could work for you. These are the top 10 lists. I just made random ones, and they're all based on I have 4 different studies. You know what? I'll put the studies down I'll put them down in the show notes. And but they're tips that I derived from the studies. So tip number 1, I'll put your tip at the top. So tip number 1 is be personable to strangers. How about that? That's a great one. So tip number 2, do one small kind act each week. In your case, for a stranger, a previous guest said do one for your neighbor. Which one's scarier, your neighbor or your stranger?
Neighbor.
Yeah, a neighbor. 100%. 100%. All right. That one work for you?
I mean, sure. I like some of my neighbors. I mean, just last week, one of my neighbors went out of town for a week, and so I watered his flowers every single day.
Yeah.
He asked me to, but it's not like I volunteered, but I did that. It's not too bad.
Pair people, but you are not in the pair. Pair people is kind of like, hold on, like a buddy system for regular check-ins. Hey, are you doing okay? And so you can have a check-in buddy, and but you can also pair. Oh, I think, and I'm good at this. I'll pair Charlie, or no, I won't, because I don't. I like gotta. I'll pair Sally with Lucy, and I'll pair Charlotte with Millie, and have them check on each other. Is that something you could do?
I mean, yeah, but I don't understand how that would help. That's the thing. I'm missing the concept.
Because you are involved in the social activity without being I came up with these for someone who's like totally introvert that can't break out of their isolation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a way for you to break out of your isolation without being too vulnerable. You're matching up other people, and so you're kind of overseeing their communication, and so you can hear their emotions and their feelings. Oh, hey, uh Millie, how did your talk with Lucy go? So you're orchestrating other people's vulnerabilities, which is kind of what's happening in that group that I was telling you about, where people are talking
Mm-hmm.
about their shame and their jealousy and stuff. And
Right.
I I shared a teaser of mine, but I haven't shared mine in that group. But I'm
Yeah.
facilitating these other people sharing theirs. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I could do that. I don't think I'll get any sense of satisfaction from it, though.
You couldn't lead a community.
I mean, I could, but it's not like I would.
You
Like,
wouldn't enjoy it.
no. What are those like? What do those guys say? There's like sigmas, maybe. It's like I'm more of like a loner. Leading a group to me would be very
I know,
difficult.
but
I've done it a few times.
we're
And I'm
trying to
like,
break you out of isolation.
right, but it's
Or not
I think
necessarily you, but viewers.
yeah. Okay, yeah. You know what? For a viewer, maybe.
What if you were one of the buddies? How would that make you feel?
Like a check-in buddy.
Yeah, if I made you a check-in buddy with Miley in Ocean Springs or whatever, how would that? Is that more pressure than being the orchestrator of the check-in buddies?
Depends. Cause like, do I get along with Miley? If I don't get along with Miley, then it becomes very stressful, and I'd rather orchestrate. So mine was an
What
empty
if
chair.
the check-in buddy group is focused around a shared creative effort or shared creative world? So all writers or all
Mm-hmm.
screenwriters or all fantasy writers or all memoirists. How does that help you have a better handle on it? Or you'd rather not be confined by that group?
I don't think it totally matters what everybody does because it's just about being there for people.
Do you know what an effect dyad is?
No.
So dyad is obviously two people, right? Back and forth. And sit with a partner and take turns 2 to 3 minutes each answering what's something that moved me emotionally this week. What gave me strength and made me feel. It's basically what we're doing right
Mm-hmm.
now, or what Emily and I used to do. It's what we're doing. Only intentionally putting that into your life.
Yeah.
And then you started the conversation with this is you getting out of your bubble, just doing
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah.
You're doing great, by the way.
I hope so.
Now I'm like taking ones out of here that I don't think you'll do well at. That I shouldn't be doing that. I should. I'm self-editing. That's not good.
Oh, that's okay. I do what you think is best.
Participate in a group hobby such as a book club, choir, dance class, a make it and take it workshop.
Yoga. They got yoga at the Y.
Oh, well, you said you work out. Do you work out alone or do you work out with a buddy?
I used to have a gym buddy, but he moved. Now we don't work out as much, and that's been very hard on me. Because what I used to do is I used to work out alone, and I used to go to yoga class, right? And that was like my socializing and working out. But then I started working out very regularly with my friend, and so then I was like, oh, I don't have to go to classes anymore to try to make friends because I already have one. But now he's moved, and so now I feel like I'm back at square one. I'll probably go to the gym after we're done here.
Oh my goodness.
Gotta protect the gains.
I'll probably go to a movie when we're done here.
What movie?
So I still haven't seen Superman yet,
Okay, I haven't either.
and I feel like I have to
Okay,
because it's big.
I've heard it's political.
I can make the argument one that, but never mind. Last one. Facilitate a group with purpose. I was editing that one out because you said that you don't have a cause. and
Oh yeah, you asked me. Yeah.
and everything I do and every question I ask has a purpose. It just it's not obvious at the time. So yeah, so organizing a group for a cause or a purpose. Respond to that. How that makes you feel.
This is, I suppose, a general weakness in my personality. I tend to think too big. I tend to dream too big. I tend to idealize too large. If I
love that.
If I try to put myself on a cause, it's way too much for me to do, and I do not have the skills to do what I need to do. And so then I end up feeling awful. Because I'm like, I know what needs to happen. I just lack the ability to do it. And that's not great. Well, I've had ideas. I've had ideas recently, but it's like I'd have to be able to do certain things like build a website or things that I can't physically do.
So I always like to say you're not going to, which it's kind of negative, but you're not going to solve world hunger. But you certainly can solve hunger in your neighborhood, your street, the 10 houses closest to you.
Fun fact about me, I went into food science to solve world hunger and discovered we grow enough food every year to feed everyone on the planet. We just don't distribute it properly.
Okay.
So someone did solve world hunger. Someone did it, like in terms of like volume.
But they haven't done it. That's what I'm saying.
But they can't.
They could, but they actively haven't done it. But
no, because they're going against wealth. That's the problem.
But your sphere of influence, you certainly can. You could, like, I already told you can't get pregnant, but you can make sure your family's never hungry, and then you can make sure your neighborhood's never hungry, or your extended family. Then you can make sure your neighborhood's never hungry. Those are all doable things.
Yeah, my sister runs a community garden.
Yeah, like that. Perfect. Anything else you want to say to close out this topic?
I think exercise is good. I know people say that a lot, but like going to a gym or even just like going to some place where people walk or run and going for a walk, like some kind of nature reserve or something.
My stupid walk, #stupid walk. I hate to admit this, but you are correct.
Hawker walk. That's what we call it.
You're correct.
No, it makes a difference. You'll see people. You might be able to smile at a stranger who's running by you, and that can help. Or someone will have a cute dog to pet. You know? So I would say, just because like in the past year I've moved towards physical activity, and that's really helped me both mentally and physically, that I would push for trying to do things that lean that way.
I think that cup's getting a little bit fuller.
I just wanted to flex. Hey, Jon Meyers. So you learned a little bit about me today, so you know that I was a food scientist in a past life.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you food-related questions and food science-related questions.
Okay. Ask the questions loudly. I figured out why I can't hear you. It's because the air conditioner's right there.
All right. I'll be loud.
All right.
So here's the first question. It's a chill one, literally, and it has to do with our freezer we brought up earlier.
Oh.
What is the difference between ice cream and gelato?
I don't know. So this is a perfect example of hey, Jon Meyers. When I was growing up, my parents owned a Tasty Freeze. How about that? And Tasty Freeze is like a Dairy Queen for people that don't know. Gelato is water based and not dairy based. That's my guess.
Close. You're on the right. You're on the right track, actually, which is very exciting. Because I wanted to give you something that you kind of would feel, So legally, we're going into food law and regulation here. Legally, ice cream must have 10% milk fat.
Okay.
To be considered, like legally ice cream. Okay. Gelato tends to range between 4 and 9%, putting it just below ice cream. Right? So legally, you cannot call gelato ice cream in the United States. It also tends to be served at a warmer temperature than ice cream, which gives a different flavor profile, which is why it doesn't need as much milk fat to give that kind of creaminess, because it's a little warmer, so you don't have as many ice crystals. And the other important thing about ice cream that I will share in this Hey Jon Meyers is a very important factor in how ice cream feels in your mouth is the amount of air that they whip into it. And gelato tends to have less air than regular ice cream.
Oh.
So that's the vibe. But the legal thing that's really important is how much milk fat is in it.
Very cool.
So gelato in the United States is called a frozen dairy dessert. It does have milk in it. It's not water-based, but it has less milk fat in it. So you had to you were close. So yeah, that was my softball food science thing, and then we can get really crazy.
You say milk like I do.
Milk? Oh, we're from the same region, Jon Meyers. So if you'd like to know more about, milk fat percentages in ice cream,
And who doesn't?
Subscribe, ring the bell. That's very helpful.
Yes.
And is that it? That's it, right? Subscribe, ring the bell.
Yeah, in the Bob episodes, I always say, and that's all great, Bob, or I'll say it to you. That's all great, S.Matisko, but I want him to like me, me personally. But no, with you, I'm going to switch that. I'm going to say, I want them to like you, and I want them to tell you, reach out to you, and tell them how much they like you.
Yeah, let me know down below if you liked my first appearance, and if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, I'll cry about it. It's cool.
No, I don't want to hear any negativity. I want them all to like you.
Okay, that's what I want too, but we don't always get what we want, Jon Meyers.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, good for you. All right, so now it's time for the final act.
So today, you will be playing for...
Is it baggy?
You get two prizes for your game.
Okay, cool.
You will be playing for clippity clop. This finger puppet that's a horse.
Wow, that's nice.
And this vinyl duck. It's not a rubber duck. I don't know why people call them rubber duck. This vinyl duck. Do you know the current internet trend that's going around? Why do men always think about the Roman Empire? Well, that's stupid because I never thought about that. But do you know about the one that involves these two? There's a current one right now that's going around.
Oh, I don't. Let me think.
Okay. I will educate you.
Yeah, educate me, please.
But first, I want you to think about your biggest problem. I'm going to tie it into your biggest reason of what keeps you in when you want to go out. What's the thing that keeps you in the house when you want to go out?
Okay.
The thing that keeps you isolated. All right. So on the internet right now, there is one of these viral things of, would you rather be a horse-sized duck, or would you rather be 100 duck-sized horses? And so, yes, I said that right. Okay. And so I want you have to spend 60 seconds explaining which one of those options would solve whatever so you have to confess your obstacle of why you don't leave the house when you want to leave the house.
Okay.
And then being the horse-sized duck would make it more likely for you to leave the house, or being 100 duck-sized horses would make it more likely for to leave the house. So tell us the problem, make the solution, and I will set a timer to make sure you use all 60 seconds.
Okay.
If I know how to set a timer.
You can also just use the record time on top.
Oh, you think I got a timer here?
All right, do your timer.
All right, ready?
All right.
Go.
Okay, so my issue with leaving the house is I have some health problems. I suffer from chronic pain. And sometimes it's hard to move around very well because I'm in a lot of pain. So because of this, I would prefer the a horse-sized duck, and I would ride it so that I don't have to drive anywhere. I used to also have really bad driving anxiety. So I cannot drive somewhere that I haven't been before because of my driving anxiety. But if I have a horse-sized duck, whom I trust, right, then they can carry me to where I would like to go. Also, very good icebreaker. People love dogs. Imagine how they would feel if I had a horse-sized duck. I will say I need it to be a female duck, though, not a male duck. That's very important. One, because of the eggs. Duck eggs are very delicious. And two, because male ducks are evil. The end.
And that was exactly a minute.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do that?
What do you mean?
How'd you make it exactly a minute?
I can look at the record time.
Oh, it was pretty tricky there.
I just have eyesight that's decent.
You didn't do the one Mississippi thing. So you win both of these creatures.
Amazing.
Just
what I always wanted, you know?
I know. And you'll never probably get them. Do you have fibromyalgia?
No, they don't know what's wrong with me. Fun fact about me. They've done a lot of tests. They can't really figure it out because I live in the American healthcare system, you know what I mean? So they don't really know what's wrong with me. It's generic autoimmune is kind of the vibe. So
it's chronic pain all the time. Are you in pain right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Were you hoping I'd say no? Like... No, it's not too bad. It's like in terms of like how bad my pain can get, it's like a 2. Like it's pretty chill.
So Nina Kay, romance writer from Scotland, from Edinburgh, my favorite non-American city. We had her on, and she has constant chronic pain. I asked her the same thing. Are you in pain right now? And she's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Dang, I just feel bad that people are always in pain."
Yeah.
All right, so I didn't prepare you for our closing catchphrase. Do you know it?
I've seen it.
So I agree with your the female male duck thing. Would the egg be bigger than like that, or be
food?
Oh my goodness.
I'm ending world hunger. I'm really doing my part. You know?
I don't eat eggs anymore because of bird flu.
Okay.
And so I still eat chicken, which makes no sense, but I don't eat eggs anymore. I haven't had an egg in forever, but there you go.
Okay. I know lots of things about eggs.
Oh. I can't believe I'm going to have a picture of your wrist up over behind my head.
My
your
broken wrist. You're going to feel so good. Well, we couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, we couldn't have done it without you.